All right, mediumship video number 109. I was healed by Charlie Goldsmith. It was super weird, and that's the subject of today's video. So if you don't already know, Charlie Goldsmith is that Australian healer. He kind of stands there, his eyes flutter, and the people opposite of him get better in minutes. And while I am a medium, I'm also skeptical. He looks super suspicious. He's totally on the up and up. He is the real deal. So I live about 40 miles from Los Angeles, and he had an in-person event in Los Angeles, so I went there. It was at a hotel, small private hotel. I went with a friend who's also a medium. It was a small venue. I was surprised. There were 100, 130 people there, around that much. There were a whole bunch of injured people waiting outside of the little theater that was inside this like conference room theater in this hotel. A lot of injured and ill people, and a bunch of them were lining up early. We got there kind of early because you never know what traffic's going to be like in LA. So we got there early, people were lining up, but we all had assigned seats, like specific seats. So my friend and I went and found a lounge and sat in that because we weren't just going to stand there for however long. And then just before it started, we went back and we got in line. And this is where the weirdness begins. So we had only been standing there a minute or so, and it was maybe 5 minutes before the whole thing started. And all of a sudden, the whole left side of my body it got tingly from my head to my toes, and the right side of my face went numb. That numb thing on one or the other side of my face, only one side at a time, has happened my whole life. I know it's something with the spirit world. I don't know exactly what it is, but I looked at the door because we were like in this half circle that we had to go around to get in the door. So I looked over at the entrance to where we were going, and I thought, is he doing something? Is he prepping? And my friend who was with me, who's a medium, said, "Wow, can you feel that?" And I looked at her, I said, "Yes, what are you feeling?" She said, "My whole body just went tingly from the top of my head down to my toes." I said, "Oh, for me, it's just the left side of my body," which is weird. And, my face is numb on one side. So then we get into this little theater and we sit down, and I open up to the spirit world the way that I do for a mediumship reading. And when I do that, I get people in spirit as people. You will never hear me say I have a mom energy or grandpa energy. I'll say that, this has to be mom, this has to be grandpa, whoever it is. So I open up like I do for a mediumship reading, and I wouldn't say it was people in spirit that I was aware of. I want to say they were beings in non-physical. So I have to say that people in spirit are a subset of the non-physical world. They're a subset of those beings who are not in this physical world. And what I was sensing is what I would say beings in the non-physical, which is a whole new thing for me. I've never really sensed that before. So my very first thought was, oh, he's getting help doing this. Like someone or more than someone is working through him, whether he knows it or not. And that led to like a half second of disappointment because I would like to learn how he does this. And then right on the heels of that, I thought, well, if whoever's helping him, they can help me and others who want to learn. But they were not people. The best translation I can give as a medium is humanoid beings is what I was aware of. That's the best way I can say that. They were, this is also weird, they were twice the size of a normal person, so like 10, 11 feet tall, not male or female, and they just stood there the entire time, almost like statues, except that they were alive, quote unquote. They were beings. They didn't move at all, and I didn't even sense them interacting with anyone, including the people that Charlie was working on. They were just there, like 5 or 6 of them scattered around this room of 130-ish people. So that was super weird. I've never perceived anything like that before. And then Charlie does his very first healing of the day, and it is not like Reiki. It's not like energy healing I've ever witnessed or been a part of or experienced. It was weird. This sounds really strange. It was almost like technology. There was like a buzzing in the air, like if you turned on a piece of medical equipment and it vibrated or hummed. And I guess this is part of it too, why it felt like technology. It was all it felt more clinical than spiritual. It was really interesting. It was very different from anything I've ever witnessed or experienced. And then usually within a minute of someone standing there in front of them while his eyes are fluttering, the person in front of him would start to move. They'd be like, oh, wow, look at this. I haven't done this in like 3 years or whatever. They were moving and saying, oh my goodness, I can feel that. So then I was the 3rd or 4th person called up. I actually got chosen that day of a very small group of people that were chosen. So I was the third or fourth one. I went up, and so this is my story. I had surgery on my chest 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago, and to remove potentially cancerous tissue that turned out to be benign. But I have scars on the left and right side of my chest, and those scars have hurt 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 years. So when I walked down to the front of the theater to be with Charlie, I realized that the left side of my chest had almost completely stopped hurting. It was just kind of annoying rather than painful. And I'm not sure when that happened. Was it in the lobby when the whole left side of my body went tingly? I don't know. So I told him that, and he said Charlie said that sometimes collateral healing can happen, like a bomb can cause collateral damage. Sometimes the audience members who are not specifically being worked on will experience collateral healing. That definitely happened to me. And then before he even, and so you're standing there for a few seconds, he starts to close his eyes or they flutter and he's concentrating on you. And before he even did that, just before he did that, I could feel waves going down my whole body. They were, so looking at the camera like this, the waves, if my hands are flat like a sheet of paper, they were going down my body like this. If I were to turn sideways, it was like they were going like this from the top of my head down to my feet. They weren't concentrated in my chest or any one part of my body. It was just waves, a constant wave going down my whole body from the very top of my head. So within a minute or less, my entire chest was pain-free, and it had hurt all the time for 3 years. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say the pain was anywhere from a 5 to a 7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So this healing with Charlie was 2 months ago. And since then, the right side of my chest is sometimes annoying, sometimes has no pain at all. And the left side is almost never annoying. It's almost constantly, completely pain-free. Neither side has been painful again. If I feel anything, it's a little bit of annoyance where the scars are. So super cool, and I'm super thankful for that. Also, I had a concussion last year that has affected people's names. I have trouble with names of people, places, and things, mostly with people. So he also worked on that, and that now happens me not being able to identify someone by name, even relatives, people I've known my whole life. That is noticeably less, but it's not as dramatic as my chest, and it does still happen sometimes. So that is my experience of Charlie Goldsmith. He's definitely the real deal. It was a very clinical feeling rather than a spiritual or even an energetic feeling, except that I did. And when I say I felt waves going down my body, it was a physical sensation, like there was something physically moving through my body in like this. If you've seen accordion blinds on windows, if you were to unfurl one of those and then shake it just from the top, the way it would move, that's how it felt like waves were moving down my whole body. It was fascinating, and I'm super thankful for the whole thing. So that's my experience. Please like the video, comment on it below, click the subscribe button, and see you next time.